The ocean was unusually quiet that morning. A thin line of orange stretched across the horizon as the sun slowly rose over the waters near Karachi. The salty wind moved gently across the shore, brushing against the weathered face of Hassan Ali. For Hassan, the sea was not just a livelihood. It was a memory, a wound, a grave. 2 years earlier, he had lost his 7-year-old daughter, Ariba, during a violent storm. His small wooden boat had capsized, and though Hassan survived, his daughter was swallowed by the waves. Since that day, the ocean had never sounded the same. Every crashing wave felt like an echo of her voice calling out to him. But Hassan still returned every morning, because sometimes the only way to survive pain is to face it. That morning, as he prepared to cast his nets, something unusual caught his eye. Far beyond the shallow surf, something dark floated awkwardly between the swells. At first, he assumed it was debris, maybe a broken piece of wood or trash carried by the tide. But as he steered closer, his blood ran cold. It was a coffin, black, heavy, half-submerged in seawater. Hassan's hands trembled as he maneuvered his boat closer. The sea had returned many things over the years, wreckage, bottles, even bodies, but never this. He tied a rope around the coffin and slowly dragged it toward shore. Each wave pushed against him like the ocean was resisting, like it wasn't ready to let go. By the time he reached the beach, a small crowd had gathered. Other fishermen, curious children, a few women standing at a distance. "Don't open it," someone shouted. "Call the police." But Hassan felt something strange in his chest, a pull, as if the sea had delivered this coffin to him specifically. The metal lock was rusted, weak. Hassan pulled out his old fishing knife, the same knife he used to cut tangled nets, and forced it under the latch. With a loud crack, the lock snapped open. The beach fell silent. Hassan slowly lifted the lid. And then he froze. Inside lay a small girl. Her skin was pale, her clothes soaked and torn. In her arms, she clutched a worn-out doll. But she wasn't dead. Her chest rose faintly. She was breathing. Hassan staggered backward, tears instantly flooding his eyes. For a moment, the world blurred. The doll in her arms looked almost identical to the one Ariba used to carry everywhere. "Ya Allah," he whispered, voice breaking. The crowd gasped. Someone quickly called an ambulance. Without hesitation, Hassan reached inside the coffin and gently lifted the girl into his arms. Her body was cold, but there was still life inside her, and that was enough. At the hospital, Hassan refused to leave the waiting room. Hours felt like years. His mind raced with one terrifying question: who would put a living child inside a coffin and throw her into the sea? Finally, a doctor stepped out. "She's alive," he said. "Weak, but alive." Hassan broke down. The doctor explained that the girl had been drugged. Whoever sealed her inside the coffin likely believed she would suffocate or drown when water seeped in. But the coffin had been tightly constructed. It floated instead of sinking. And somehow the currents carried it toward Hassan. The girl's name, they later discovered, was Mehak. She was 8 years old, the daughter of wealthy businessman Rashid Malik. 3 days earlier, Rashid had reported her kidnapped. The kidnappers demanded a large ransom, but before any exchange could take place, they cut off contact. Police suspected something darker. When Mehak finally regained consciousness, her first word was barely a whisper. "Abu, father." Hassan felt something inside him shatter. He gently held her hand. "You're safe," he told her softly. When Rashid Malik arrived at the hospital and saw his daughter alive, he collapsed to his knees. A powerful man brought to nothing in seconds. "You gave me my world back," Rashid sobbed, gripping Hassan's hands. Hassan shook his head. "The sea did," he replied quietly. Investigations revealed the horrifying truth. The kidnappers had panicked. Afraid of being caught, they decided to eliminate the only witness, Mehak herself. They sedated her, sealed her inside the coffin, and dumped her into the ocean at night. They assumed no one would ever find her. They were wrong. As days passed, Mehak slowly recovered, but something unexpected happened. She refused to let Hassan leave her side. Whenever he visited, her fear eased. She would hold onto his rough, calloused hand as if it were an anchor keeping her from drifting away again. One afternoon, she looked at him with wide eyes. "Why were you crying when you opened the coffin?" she asked. Hassan hesitated. Then he told her about Ariba, about the storm, about the little girl the ocean had taken from him. Mehak listened silently. When he finished, she reached for her doll and placed it in his hands. "You can keep her," she said, "so you're not alone." Hassan's tears fell freely. Months later, the kidnappers were arrested and sentenced. Justice had been served, but healing was a different story. Rashid offered Hassan money, a new boat, a house, anything he wanted. Hassan asked for only one thing. "Let me see Mehak sometimes." Rashid agreed. Over time, their bond grew stronger. Hassan taught her how to read the tides, how to cast fishing nets, how to respect the sea but never fear it. Mehak would visit his small home and place flowers beside Ariba's photograph. Then one evening, Rashid made an unexpected proposal. "If you're willing," he said gently, "I want you to be part of her life officially. She needs you. And perhaps you need her too." Hassan couldn't speak. The ocean had taken his daughter, but somehow in the most unthinkable way it had returned a piece of his heart. Today, along the shores of Karachi, fishermen still tell the story. They say that sometimes the sea does not only take, sometimes it gives back. When Hassan sails out now, Mehak often sits beside him. They watch the waves together, not with fear but with gratitude, because sometimes inside something meant for death, there is life. And sometimes a fisherman opens a coffin and finds his soul again,